Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to the dceu Daily. Remember, you can tag me on Twitter and add me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. So welcome, we've got a lot to get through, so let's get on with it. But we have to start with some depressing, really sad news. Billy Crudup, who played Barry Allen's father both in Justice League and the upcoming Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, has dropped out as Barry Allen's dad in the new Flashpoint movie. These are scheduling issues. It's really, really sad. I was thinking the other day, so looking forward to Billy playing the role. He's such a great actor. Zack obviously cast him. They had a great actor-director relationship in Watchmen as well. So that was a Zack Snyder piece of casting, and I really didn't want to see that deleted. So we had some really good news with Kiersey Clemons coming back, another pick from Zack Snyder for the Flashpoint movie. But what you gain sometimes in life, in one place, you lose in another. And so today I find myself kind of thinking deeply about this and thinking, you know, a lot of people on the internet are very frustrated about this, and we've got other people telling us, why are you frustrated about a piece of casting that's not happening? What do you think, he's going to choose The Flash over a critically acclaimed TV show? That's not the point, is it? We're DC fans. We love the DC live-action universe. We live and breathe it. We were looking forward to seeing his performance continue. And seeing that Billy is going to be in Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, it takes a little bit of getting used to. And, of course, they are going to recast this role. It's a vital role, and it's very important. So today I have the sad news of telling you that Billy Crudup will no longer be in the Flashpoint movie. He will no longer be playing Barry Allen's father. So for me, that's very sad news. But we go over to some really, really positive news, because The Flash has got some good, exciting casting news. It might not be A-list Hollywood, but she's very well respected. Flash movie Spanish actress Maribel Verdú to play Barry Allen's mother. Exclusive from The Hollywood Reporter. Meanwhile, Billy Crudup drops out of the Warner Brothers DC movie due to a scheduling conflict. Yeah, reading it there again, so sad, because as I say, I just think that Billy had something special to add. We must remember, though, that Billy has dropped out before and been brought back in. I mean, there's not long till they start shooting, and the Ray Fisher situation is still out there. I think we may hear quickly in the next couple of weeks that Ray will play Cyborg in Flashpoint. But, you know, bear with me. Stick here on Big Mouth and the dceu Daily every day so I can keep you updated about what's going on, because I do have my ear to the ground. Don't judge my followers and my subs and think I don't know anything. I'm more connected than you know. Anyway. Meanwhile, yes, so we got Flash fans know what an important role Barry Allen's mother plays in the life of the Scarlet Speedster. And it's a character that will figure prominently in the big screen adaptation being made by Warner Brothers and DC. Now, the actress to play the part has been found. Maribel Verdú, best known to international audiences for her work in Alfonso Cuarón's Y2 Mama Tambien, and Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth, will play the key role in The Flash, which is casting up and prepping for a spring-summer shoot in England. She's a critically acclaimed actor. This is great casting, and it proves that Andy and Barbara Machete know exactly what they're doing. That actually makes me a lot more confident about them now. But at the same time, as he gains a mother, he's losing his dad. Sources tell THR that Billy Crudup, who was set to play the father role, has dropped out of the project. Crudup is also due to shoot the new season of Apple's The Morning Show, for which he won an Emmy, and schedules conflicted. Many productions are encountering conflicts when juggling tight schedules thanks to the pandemic, with quarantines on both sides of the Atlantic forcing crunches on actors' availabilities. That part will be recast. Right. I want to add something else about this. Sometimes journalists add 1 and 1 and get 200. It could be because they know he's tied onto that show that he might not be able to be on the Flash movie. But we know that Zack, while Ezra Miller was on Fantastic Beasts 3 doing the shoot for that, he got him to do something on Zoom. So there could still be ways of doing this. I don't know if it's possible. But, you know, with technologies now, who knows? So they're talking about a source I believe the Hollywood Reporter, right? They're a great source for information. I'm not trying to call them liars or anything, but as I say, sometimes journalists add one and one and get a bigger number. So be aware that this might not be the case, but until you hear anything else, it looks like they're gonna have to recast the role, which is very sad for me and many fans out there as well. The moves come as Kiersey Clemons, who has been associated with Flash through several incarnations, straightened her schedule and closed her deal this week. She's playing Iris West, Alan's romantic interest. Iris West is more than anyone's romantic interest. She's an intrepid reporter. She's an independent, strong young woman. You, the media, especially you, Hollywood Reporter, keep on talking about strong women, representation and inclusion, and you call a character a romantic interest. Hypocrites, hypocrisy. Anyway, Ezra Miller is starring as the Flash in the DC movie that will also feature Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck as multiverse versions of Batman. Its director Andy Muschietti is helming from a screenplay written by Christina Hodson. Barbara Muschietti and Michael Disco are producing, while Marianne Jenkins is serving as executive producer. Storyline details are being kept sealed in Alan's Ring, but it is known that it will involve alternate dimensions and time travel with the hero trying to save his mother from being murdered. Verdu is a veteran of Spain's film and television industry and has been nominated multiple times for the country's Goya Awards, winning twice. The Goya Awards. The Goya Awards. You may not have heard of them, but they are really respected awards in the international film industry. So any international critic or journalist can tell you this is a really, really talented woman. So well done to Andy and Barbara Muschietti for getting this really important piece of casting, because it means she's a really good actor. I can't wait to see her chemistry with Ezra Miller, a.k.a. The Flash, a.k.a. Barry Allen. The Flash is moving on. It's just a shame that it seems that we've lost Billy Crudup as Barry's father, because that would have been awesome. But we will see. Nothing's set. They're only talking about hearing it from sources. We will see what's true and what's not. Now, this is a really interesting exclusive from Vanity Fair, Justice League, the untold story of Cyborg and Deathstroke. And I've been told that this is actually a very interesting article, so we're going to read it out. This is by Anthony Bresnicki. So Ray Fisher and Joe Manganiello reveal all about the Snyder Cut drama and how it connects to the abandoned Batfleck film. Very interesting. A good guy and a bad guy walk onto a movie set. Both walk away feeling wronged, disappointed, underwhelmed. Audiences felt pretty much the same when a hopelessly messy version of Justice League hit theatres almost 4 years ago. It's interesting that everybody in journalism and access media is saying that now, but wouldn't say anything negative about this film apart from calling it fun and a great Saturday morning version of Justice League. Ridiculous, right? Why do you think Zack went off on Scott Mendelson, right? Anyway, both Ray Fisher playing hero Cyborg and Joe Manganiello playing villain Deathstroke saw their futures as iconic DC Comics characters vaporized in the aftermath of the behind-the-scenes battles. Catastrophic reviews, abandoned sequels, and enduring disagreement. Then 4 years later, they got a do-over. That's where the actors found themselves last fall when Vanity Fair interviewed them on the set of Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was in the midst of shooting a new sequence for an unprecedented second try at Hollywood's most notorious superhero faceplant. The shocking, exhilarating, heartbreaking true story of the Snyder Cut has already been told in detail. Think about this. Vanity Fair journalists were on the set of the reshoot of Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. He had them there purposely to tell his side and his actor's side of the story. Wow. The fight to restore the Snyderverse isn't just our fight. Zack is taking this fight to the studio too. Fisher thought that playing the reconstructed robotic hero in the original 2017 film would be a career breakthrough, but after Zack Snyder left the project amid a family tragedy and irreconcilable disagreements with Warner Brothers, Avengers filmmaker Joss Whedon took over. That's when the project became a source of personal upheaval for the actor. as Fisher's negative experiences with Whedon exploded into tensions with the studio that continue today. When Snyder was still in control of the original film, Manganiello shot a post-credit cameo as the assassin Deathstroke, intended as a prologue to a much more substantial role in Ben Affleck's planned standalone film about the Caped Crusader. When that version of the Batman movie fell apart in pre-production, Manganiello's footage was re-edited by Whedon to tease a Justice League sequel, which also never happened. After Snyder agreed to return to the project last year to finalise his original vision as a 4-hour event on HBO Max, both Fisher and Manganiello signed on to shoot the project's one major new sequence. They'll also see that their earlier performance is restored to something closer to Snyder's original intent. Fans will finally get to see it all. It is entirely in its entirety on March the 18th. Both actors sat down during a break on the Simi Valley set last October to discuss how Justice League went awry and what they hope this version sets right. Vanity Fair, what's it like to come back? It's got to be a little strange, right? Joe Manganiello, 4 years. I mean, geez, I don't even know how to put it into words. We all thought it was over, but the fact that the fans were that. Yeah, basically, the fact that the fans were that, basically, so he's saying it's down to us, the fans. Ray Fisher, pulling up a chair. Hey, what's up, man? Manganiello, how are you? I want to hug it out, but... Fisher, hey, it is what it is. 2020, back in the saddle. Mohawk looks good. Manganiello runs hand through it. Thanks, Fisher. I was going to say that's not you, though. That's not your personal mohawk. Manganiello, that's my hair, Fisher. No, it's not, Lars. That's fucking dope. Wow. I love it when Ray's like this. It's really cool, isn't it? Like because he's still so serious and he's, been fighting so hard against the studio. It's nice to hear that he's happy and he's bantering with another actor. Manganiello, yeah, I shaved it over the weekend. He just asked, what's it like being back? It's like there were just so many things that I had thought about. Other projects I had worked on. I didn't just shoot the final scene for Justice League. The end credit sequence, I was preparing for a movie. I was preparing for Affleck's Batman. So all the work, the sword training, the guns, you start thinking, okay, well, I have to hurry up and shoot this scene to tease that movie. But then next year I'm going to come back and fully flesh this character out. I had all of these thoughts, and this is the culmination of 4 years of staring at the ceiling at night. What could I do? So it's fun to come back and start playing a little bit of that out. And of course, it's great to see Zach and all the people I haven't seen since London all those years ago. How is it for you, Ray? I know it's complicated because you're in a situation with Warner Brothers Fisher. There's a lot going on right now, but I'm able to compartmentalize those things. I wouldn't have missed this opportunity for the world to be here with Zach and the crew. There's no way in hell I would have missed a single day. I would have walked here if I had to. You know what I mean? Now, before we carry on, this is interesting that Ray can have a war of words with Warner Brothers, but still work on another Warner Brothers owned property with Zack Snyder. Shows the power of Zack Snyder. It also shows that if Snyder wants to do a cyborg project, that no matter what's going on between Ray and Warner Brothers, Ray and Zack can still work together, which is brilliant. Fisher, like Manganiello, yeah, Fisher, like Joe was just saying, this thing has been on my mind. There's not a day that's gone by over the last 3 years I haven't thought about this movie, that I have not sat up at night thinking, what if there was a world wherein this thing actually does get released? At what point did you know, okay, maybe there will be a Snyder Cut? When was it real? Fisher, I don't think it was real until just this year. Really real. It's always been talk. There was a comic convention where people would ask me about it, and I decided to stop being so studio PC about the situation and just go, it does exist. It's not a matter of whether or not it exists. It's a matter of whether or not we actually see it. I think the fans really just kept the fire going, and it felt real because Zach had all this information on all these photos that he would share with us. But insofar as it getting released in the way that it is, man, I wouldn't have thought anything like this was going to happen for at least another 10 years. You know what I mean? Manganiello. For me, like I said, I was preparing for a movie that didn't happen. So then the end credit sequence was shifted to advertise a Justice League 2 movie about the villains. that then was pushed to the side. Did the studio consider adding your Deathstroke to any other projects? Manganiello, there was incarnation after incarnation of Suicide 2 involving me versus Will Smith's character. Wow, that would have been awesome. Deadshot. So I went through a couple of years of that, and when the last one didn't go, then you just put it away and you just say, it's over. That was it. I went through 5 flaming hoops and it's not happening. We're putting it down. And then Zack calls you up and says, okay, let's go. You'd given up on Deathstroke until being brought back for this new sequence in the Snyder Cut. Manganiello. The second I let it go was when Zack called me and said, hey, I think if these things line up, then you're going to get to play him again. So you go back, you dust off the trunk, you open it and you go. What would I have done had I been given the chance to do more? But Ray, you didn't let it go. Fisher, no, not for a single day. No, Manganiello, I had for my own sanity. I was like, I'm out. I can't do this. Fisher, I probably should have let it go, but there was so much that we left behind in this version of the film. It's completely a different movie. Can you walk me through the emotion you felt throughout this process when you heard Zack had left the original movie? What was it like? What were you feeling? What were you thinking? Manganiello to Fisher, that's probably more of a question for you because I shot one scene with Zack. For me, it was the shock that Batman wasn't happening. So then what happens to that scene we shot? I thought that scene was then going to be thrown away. You were fully signed on for the Affleck Batman movie, question mark. Manganiello, correct. I was the villain in that. And after Affleck dropped out in early 2017, I thought, well, that Justice League scene's gone. It's not going to exist. Then I remember getting a call from Warner Brothers correspondent of production, John Byrne, at the time, who said, hey, we got Jesse Eisenberg back as Lex Luthor, and we reshot all of his dialogue. We're teasing a Justice League 2, so we're still going to use it, and it's back in the movie. And I went, what? So it was all the same. So it was all the same stuff you shot originally for Zack, just reconfigured. Manganiello, they used my side. They changed his side. So when Zack called me about the Snyder Cut, he said, hey, man, this might happen. And I said, oh, well, you have all that footage, so you're going to restore the scene back to what it was going to be to tease the Batman movie, not Justice League 2. Then Zack called me a few months later and said, by the way, we're bringing your suit over from London and we're going to do an entirely new scene. I got super excited for that, but I didn't really. I didn't really go through the roller coaster that Fisher went through with Zack, as far as that went. Fisher, yeah, it was tough. How did you find out that Snyder was leaving the movie in 2017? I remember I was in a movie theatre, coincidentally enough, in New York. I remember exactly where I was. I was walking into the AMC right in Times Square, and I got the call from Zack, and he was saying that he had to deal with stuff with the fam, and he was having to step away. I had a trillion questions. My heart sank. I was like, I can't ask really any of them at this point because I know he's got a lot of other phone calls to make like this, and I could hear it in his voice. It broke his heart to make those calls. You bad people. You bad people. What you did was bad. Bad for the film industry, bad for Zack, bad for all of us, bad for everyone who loves entertainment. Horrible. I'm nearly in tears. He told you about his daughter taking her own life, Fisher. I'd heard about that months before, but insofar as him having to step away to deal with the family stuff, did he indicate at the time that there were disagreements about the cut with the studio? Fisher, no, I didn't hear anything like that from Zack. He's always been a stellar dude when it comes to that kind of stuff. After he had stepped away, I hadn't talked to him for one-on-one for maybe about a year or so. This was well after the movie came out. We had done reshoots. I wanted to really give him his space because I knew as things were changing and evolving, this is not what was meant to be. And so I already knew he was dealing with a bunch of other stuff. And I was like, let me not put the disagreements with Whedon on top of him too. So we carry on. One of the big things for me was just trying to maintain, even in the reshoot process, the integrity of what we had come up with together, which was tough a lot of times. But I think the bones of Cyborg are still in what the theatrical cut is. And it's because of the work that we were able to put in prior to Whedon taking over. I was able to hold on to that against some pretty precarious situations on set. But didn't a lot of stuff change, Fisher? There was a lot of stuff that changed, to be completely honest with you. I had to back and reshoot every single scene. I was in none of this stuff that you see in the theatrical cut with me, except for the Gotham City Police rooftop scene with J.K. Simmons, is original. Everything else I had to reshoot. Well, that's interesting. Manganiello, whoa. Fisher, yeah. There was so much that we lost, man. It's crazy because if it were happening in this way, we may not be able to see everything that Zack has originally planned. This new thing is 4 hours long. When did you hear that Joss was going to do his version and significantly change things? He's not just finishing Zack's work, but he's now going to do his own approach. Fisher, let me tell you, they wouldn't let me read the script until I agreed to meet with Joss. I was supposed to go to LA, and this is how I knew things were getting bad. They flew me into LA. This was around the time of the Wonder Woman premiere in 2017. I was going out there to meet with Joss, and they were supposed to deliver the script to my hotel room. They didn't deliver the script. And are you contractually obliged to do the reshoot? Could you have said yes or no, Fisher? Well, no. You get certain amount of reshoot days built into the contract so that they can fit whatever they want to fit within these days. We ended up in a situation where we said, well, Joss doesn't want you to read the script until after you meet with him. And I said, well, the only reason I'm here is to read the script and then talk to them so we can talk about the changes. And then I come to find out that everything was changed. Could you object to the changes? Now, this is interesting. Fisher, you signed on to do the movie, but there are certain things that you have to push back on. There are a lot of really precarious things that they wanted to try that I found would have been slightly offensive to people that were differently abled. Note, Cyborg gets his powers from being reconstructed after a serious car crash. Some of those things I was able to get out of the script, but it was an uphill battle for a lot of us during that time, and that's no secret at this point. Wow, this is amazing, isn't it? Was the hope that you would talk first and then you guys would hit it off? Fisher, it was to warm me up with a conversation. It was just a really strange setup. I kept talking to people and they're like, well, just so you know, this isn't normal stuff because this was my first feature film, period. This is my first big anything. And so I'm just trying to go with the flow. So those things really tripped me out. I was like, something's odd, but I can't piece it all together. Now that I've got hindsight and I've got a lot more nuanced information about the entirety of it, all that's what I'm essentially trying to get dealt with on the other side of things. Now, Joe, you didn't have to work on the Joss version. Manganiello, no. I was back and forth to London fitting the suit. As soon as we got the suit right, we went off to Monaco Bay. They got a yacht, and Jesse and I just shot the scene with Zack. I don't know how much. Sorry, say that again. I don't know how much you can talk about this, Ray, but you've been very public that there was a dispute. What happened, Fisher? Well, there was a lot of toxic behaviour from Joss Whedon. I don't think it's any secret, or maybe it's an open secret in Hollywood, but luckily I have not been in the business for a really long time, and I haven't really subscribed to that way of behaviour. Going from a person like Zack to a person like Joss was like day and night. What's the difference between those two, Fisher? What ended up happening, I think, was a bit of a collaborative gaslighting that we got from Joss. We ended up getting an email prior to the reshoot. I think it was sent out to the entire cast. It was an email saying, hey, we're really trying to pull this together. Obviously, this is a tough situation. Any questions, comments, blah, 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 feel free to pass them along. We learned pretty quickly that that was not the case at all. That was just the niceties for what was really going to be happening, which is, well, I'm not going to get too much into that. The thing is, there's an ongoing investigation with respect to that. Obviously, he's talking about the investigation that's been and gone now. It's important to know that. And we're trying to get everything back on track with that. No, that investigation has been concluded, but Fisher has stated he is not satisfied and believes the dispute cost him a future role as Cyborg. People are wondering what exactly happened, Fisher. There were some things that I did that did not happen to me that I bore witness to that I can't speak about right now. That's for the people that it happened to speak about. You could tell very quickly that Whedon was very upset that people did not like Age of Ultron very much. This is what I gathered from the first conversation that I had with him. There was a bit of this sort of egotistical narcissism that ended up going into everything that he was trying to do. You can see it in some of the scenes that were produced. Flash falling on Wonder Woman's chest is something that he yanked out of Age of Ultron and just copy-pasted here. In my first conversation creatively with him, he kept accidentally calling Diana Natasha. Wow. Oh my fucking God. Which is crazy stuff. No, for the unfamiliar, the real name of Marvel's Black Widow is Natasha, and DC's Wonder Woman is Diana. This was in the conversation that they made me have with him prior to giving me the script. There was a lot of belittling on set. There was a lot of mocking both of previous work and of actors and people. What do you mean? Note throughout VF's reporting on this project, Whedon's Vanity Fair's reporting on the project, Whedon's representatives have repeatedly declined to comment. Fisher, he's compared me at one point to Robert Downey Jr. and said, listen, I don't like to take notes from anybody, not even Robert Downey Jr. And I said, well, okay, be that as it may. Manganiello, you had a suggestion? Fisher, that was the first phone conversation he and I had about the actual script. And so to note in, he cuts me off flat out and goes, this is what it is. And I go, okay, the email that you sent me was not that. I'm getting right now. So I take the cue and just back off it. But you can tell he had a lot of resentment for what the situation was with Marvel. With the Marvel side of things, it just left weird. It just felt weird and odd. But we ended up getting the brunt of a lot of whatever he was going through at the time. I don't know what that was, but whatever it is, it can't continue. This kind of stuff can't keep going. I mean, I said it before. If this is the only film I'm blessed to do, I'll take it and go, because there's never going to be another film that happens like this. Whedon obviously had issues with Age of Ultron. But could it be, and I don't want you to cancel me for this, but if you want to unsubscribe and cancel, you can. But this is how I see it. Maybe Whedon took on a project he didn't realise was going to be the shit show it was. Maybe Whedon was under pressure from a bunch of actors that didn't want to be directed by him, but wanted to be directed by Zack Snyder. Maybe Whedon was under pressure to finish a film in a few months, where normally he'd have 6 to 9 months. Maybe that was part of the problem. That doesn't make it okay to treat people and call Diana Natasha and stuff like that. But I can imagine you or me being put in that position, and who knows how we would react. It's all right being on the outside looking in. It's also good to look at the other side. Now, it's important to say that Whedon is being accused by people on Buffy and Angel of doing really bad things too, not even being able to be alone in the same room as a child actor. And so I just thought I'd put the other side on it, but I understand there's a lot of accusations against this guy. Tell me about Zach. What kind of guy is he to work with? Manganiello, just a ball of energy, super passionate, super hyped up, and I love what's in his brain. I mean, Zach is one of the great shooters of all time. Take 300, for example. You read that on paper, and what it winds up in the end, what he had in his brain, what he foresaw doing with that script is revolutionary. It changed everything. Every movie at that had to copycat the action. So you know that when Zach calls, I get excited because I know it's going to look amazing. So that's number one. I just want to be able to trust that my director is going to make me look good. I do my job, and then he makes me look amazing. What do you think, Ray? How would you describe Zach Fisher? Just look at the way he shoots. Look at the people who he casts. Look at how inclusive he is on that side, working with that man. It doesn't feel like going to work. Like Joe said, he brings that ball of energy. The man just doesn't stop, but he's so excited about it. He just gets you hyped, and you want to do a great job, because this is interesting. This is what I've always said. A director is like a footballing coach, a good sports coach that inspires his actors, gets you excited, wants you to come to work and play every day. He's an inspirer. He's talented. He's got all the tools in his locker to make a great movie, make it look and feel good with great story and character development. But he also inspires his people that work with him. He has got the full package, and it's sensational. Manganiello, He shares, Fisher, absolutely. And if you've got an idea you want to try it, he's never like, yeah, no, let's not even try it. He'll give you one and be like, yeah, go ahead, just do whatever you want. And I've been in situations where that has not been the case. He'll look at the idea with an open heart and open mind. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But he's very much a sharer. Coming back to shoot this new sequence for the Snyder Cut, do you have a sense that this is a chance to fix an experience that went wrong? Well, see, Fisher, rapping his fist on a wooden table. I'm knocking on it for you, brother. Wow. Manganiello, I'm back. I'm happy to be back. Like I said, it's fun dusting something off what you let go of a long time ago. When does that happen again? I have more white hair now. I fit the character, which is actually better for me. Fisher, I definitely got more grey hairs. I had the barber put a little colour on them just to make sure we're good. But yeah, it does feel like a sort of relief or release just having this movie come to light. I was just talking to Zach and the crew earlier. It was like 4 years ago, almost to the day, we were wrapping this in London. I remember I still got the video. Manganiello, how funny is that? Fisher, yeah, just insane. It feels kind of like kismet. It feels right. It does feel like justice in a way. Took 4 years to get us here, but listen, we're here. And that, my friends, is the end of a brilliant fucking article and interviews between Joe Manganiello and Ray Fisher on the set of Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut reshoots. That was sensational. So what is the baggage I take away from that? I see the passion of Ray, the inspiration of Ray Fisher, and how he will run over hot coals for Zack Snyder, talking about his experiences more with Joss Whedon. By now, how Whedon treated the cast is not a surprise, but it's interesting to hear what they went through. It's a horrible tale. Ray will keep on fighting and keep on pushing, but maybe he's finally kind of covered some ground here, and maybe we can get him back on Flashpoint. We can only hope. As for Joe Manganiello, a great actor who nearly played the Man of Steel himself with Zack Snyder, but he was trapped with it in True Blood. Well, not trapped because he loved playing that role, and that's his breakout role, of course. And so just listening to these actors joking and talking, how happy they are to be with Zack, talking about Zack like a ball of energy. Look, it's just part of the celebration that is Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, a film we're going to see very, very soon. Wow, I really should have some reading glasses today. Not that I need them. So many articles, so much stuff going on within the build-up of Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut and other DC stuff too to come. How Zack Snyder's Justice League saw the light of day by Kathleen Johnson of GQ magazine. Wow. After one of the most impassioned fan campaigns of all time, well, thank you, Kathleen. Normally we're called toxic, but that's a good way of putting us. Thank you. Centered on the social network Vero, Zack Snyder's Justice League, aka the Snyder Cut, is coming to HBO Max on the 18th of March. This is how the comic community got Hollywood to change course. It took more than 2.5 years of campaigning from perhaps the most devoted fan base in Hollywood history, but finally on the 18th of March, Zack Snyder's Justice League, aka the Snyder Cut, will arrive on HBO Max. Its release marks a watershed moment in the world of pop culture, not just for Zack and Deborah Snyder, who got the chance to complete their film on their own terms, but also for the fans who not only managed to persuade a studio, in this case Warner Brothers, to release well and anything at all, but to also revisit an alternative, not yet fully existing version of a project from several years ago. To recap, Snyder had to pull out of Justice League during production due to a family tragedy, which saw Joss Whedon come on board to complete it in his absence. Whedon's final product, which Snyder says is an entirely different film than the one he had been working on, was both a critical flop and a disappointment to many fans, who bemoaned the total loss of Snyder's artistic vision. Almost immediately after the film arrived in theatres, Snyder supporters began to organise on Vero with one demand: release the Snyder Cut. Vero has been a digital HQ for Snyder fans since 2017, when the director first teamed up with the social platform to release his personal project Snow Stem Iron, a film shot entirely on an iPhone. Follow him at Zack Snyder. The film community has been using Vero for some time, drawn to various aspects, from its no ads, no algorithms model to its long-form HD video, a capability and movie recommendation feature. What followed was a constant level of interaction between him and his fans that would be hard to achieve on any other platform, with Snyder making himself accessible to answer questions while sharing behind-the-scenes shots, exclusive imagery, Easter eggs from the DC universe. The Vero situation and what Zack did on it was the key moment that this movement became a reality in a lot of ways. He also brought his core collaborators on board, with the likes of Ray Fisher, who plays Cyborg, Ray Porter, Darkseid, Mark Twight, producer, Wesley Collar, photographer, Clay Enos, and of course Deborah Snyder, all joining Vero. Snyder's small community grew into a movement thousands strong, as fans connected through their shared passion with the release of the Snyder Cut, setting up shop in the app, rallying the troops while keeping a keen eye on the director's post for clues that would prove its existence. Their efforts to bring Snyder's Justice League to life provide a fascinating proof of the power in digital community building. The RTSC movement has advanced online, sure, embracing the Snyder family on Vero, but it's also taken action in the real world. It did everything from buy billboards in Times Square in New York City to flying planes towing banners over Warner Brothers, with activation at Comic-Con and other fan events. Stars of Justice League, including Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa and Ben Affleck, added their voices to the cause. There was a petition and lobbying, yes, but RTSC was about more than just giving a director the chance to finish a beloved project. It raised more than $500,000 for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention in memory of Snyder's daughter, Autumn Snyder. Its creative fundraising efforts were a myriad, but one particularly impressive example is JusticeCon, a virtual charity convention launched by superfans, the Nerd Queens, and Meg Lukes, run by fans, with all proceeds going to AFSP, which supporters can donate to via their posts on Vero. Over the course of the last 4 years, Vero became a home to the RTSC community. The JusticeCon team tell GQ it became a safe haven for our support as well as our charity efforts, and helped us connect with many amazing like-minded people we wouldn't probably never get to meet otherwise. And not only did it bring us together, it also served as a ground zero for many of our ideas, which ultimately made this community what it is, a group of amazing people who can do whatever they set their minds to while helping those in need. Impressed by their collective's zeal and desire to drive positive change with the philanthropic efforts, Vero established a relationship with core fan group, coordinating the movement and supported its community building activities, from a poster competition to cosplay activations when the pandemic began last year. Vero's cosplay community, many of whom are stalwarts of the RTSC movement, came together to make and find PPE for medical staff and vulnerable people. Well done. I didn't even know about this. Well done. Everyone who was involved in that, genuine well done. With Vero donating to support the efforts of leaders such as Liz Wonder. Wow, love Liz, she's awesome. Shout out to Liz, love ya. A dead ringer for Gal Gadot, yeah, and prominent DC cosplayer known for her hospital visits. She's amazing, she's awesome. Go follow her if you don't. Wonder tells GQ that the RTSC movement will always be grateful to Vero, a platform that has been dedicated to creators and their creative freedom since day one. Zack Snyder used this platform to share high-quality images of his Snyder Cut, shared links to raise awareness for suicide prevention, links for fundraiser towards AFSP. The best part is that this platform allowed him to interact with fans, providing a unique and exciting opportunity to really get to know him and his vision and keep the movement fired up. Vero is the main tool that kept us moving forward and giving us hope. We won. Oh yes, we won. Other key players on Vero include Fiona Zhang, yeah, legend, who is credited as being one of the first, if not the first fans to advocate for the Snyder Cut, and has been one of the key architects of the RTSC movement, as well as fellow community leaders Shiraz Faruqi. No. Can I just stop you there? Fellow community leaders. No. I love Shiraz. I love all these people that are being name dropped, and I don't mind not being name dropped. There are no leaders. There are no leaders. We're all fans. We all contributed. The people who have become a little bit famous and been really successful, I am happy for you. I have no bitterness towards you. But you are not our leaders. You are equal to us. You are the same as us. Having more likes and subscribers doesn't make you our leaders or what you say more relevant than what we say. I just thought I'd say that. If you don't like that, you know where the door is. Shiraz Faruqi, co-founder of the Comic Book Debate, and Dexter Washington, for whom this has been a personal journey of hope, unity and ones. Credits the success of the movement to Autumn Snyder, saying, "We kept the fire alive. To honour her, and her light will continue to shine in our memories forever." Vero became the home for the movement, and the movement became a family. When double crept in or the future looked bleak, the Vero family was there to help us back up. I think that Vero is an amazing situation, and if you've ever been on the platform, it's very chilled out, very calming. I've never had an argument on Vero. I've never been toxically bullied on Vero. And when I go on there, I make sure I don't make any hot takes. I don't wind anyone up. It's not the kind of platform that it is. We can wind each other up on Twitter. Anyway, it is the uplifting community spirit that inspired the team at Vero to launch its ZLJS celebration in the run-up to the 18th of March, which includes the Thank a Fan campaign that will spotlight the friendships made and connections deepened during the RTSC movement on the app and beyond. As Vero co-founder and CEO Ayman Hiriri says, "Now the Snyder Cut is finally here. We wanted to thank fans for their boundless energy, tireless passion by celebrating their achievements and the community they fostered together." There is also a one-in-a-lifetime competition already underway on Vero, the ZSJL cosplay competition, which will be judged by Snyder and the film's costume designer Michael Wilkinson. Wow! And will give fans the opportunity to win a video call with Zack Snyder and special ZSJL merchandise courtesy of HBO Max. Where do I sign up? No, I'm not very good with art, I'm afraid, so I'd lose. But to talk to Zach, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Beyond the official activity, Vero will also be the place for post-film conversation, with discussion, reviews and fan celebrations, just as it has been since 2017. Accounts we'd recommend paying close attention to include Mick Meanus. No, doesn't say that, I'm afraid. Anyway, accounts we'd recommend paying close attention to include Chris Wong-Svensson, host of the Ping Pong Flicks, a daily show on YouTube breaking down all the news on DC films, and a series as well as podcasters. Right, Chris is awesome. If it wasn't for Chris, I wouldn't have been inspired to start this channel. So I'm glad he's getting some representation here. As well as podcasters, Livecast Podcast and the Nicecast, who have interviewed Deborah and Zack Snyder respectively, as well as the likes of Ray Fisher. As Washington put it, the movement will continue to grow and serve in the Vero community. Wow, that was a nice little article. What this all does really is show you the positivity we're seeing with some journalists. We've had the Vanity Fair, Ray Fisher, Joe Manganiello thing. That was a massive article. A lot to read, by the way, as well, but really enjoyed it. And this is not just showing what happened and how great Vero is or the community is or anything like that. There's a fight here to restore the Snyderverse. And this positive piece of journalism for our community and the director that we represent is a fantastic thing. And I'm all for it. Geez, Mick, your video today is going on a bit. Sorry, lots to get through, nearly done. But away from Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, Batgirl and Zatanna project confirmed by Warner Brothers. Really excited about this. I want you, Hollywood, to do something you don't normally do when you're representing women. To represent women, that's great, but actually give them the hard work, the entertainment, the writing, the character the development and characterizations you give men as well. Instead of saying, hey, we've got women here, ain't we cool? No, not enough. Put in the hard work, put in the hard graft, make them great epic characters in epic movies. Warner Brothers and AT&T confirmed solo projects for Batgirl and Zatanna are officially in development, but it's unknown if they're movies or HBO Max shows by Cooper Hood. That's interesting, isn't it? We'll see. Warner Brothers confirms the studio is developing DC projects for Batgirl and Zatanna. The last several years has seen WB and DC make plans to create more superhero content than ever before. It wasn't long ago that they announced an ambitious slate of movies that would make up the DC Extended Universe, and even though only a fraction of them have come out so far, they now have multiple movies in various stages of development. The slate of DC content is also expanding thanks to HBO Max getting Zack Snyder's Justice League and greenlighting spin-off shows based on upcoming films. So very exciting, yeah. As the DC slate currently stands, there are 5 live-action DC movies with official release dates through 2023. This does not include films like Black Adam that are firmly moving forward. Newly announced films like Blue Beetle or titles like Green Lantern Corps that have been stuck in development for years. Meanwhile, James Gunn is in the middle of filming his Suicide Squad spin-off show, Peacemaker, and there are plans for a prequel to Matt Reeves' The Batman 2. There is no shortage of DC content on the way, and now 2 more projects are firmly part of the plan. Warner Brothers' upcoming slate of DC projects is now confirmed to include Batgirl and Zatanna. During a recent Investors' Day held by AT&T, which owns Warner Brothers, a title card teased some of the many DC movies and TV shows that will arrive in the next few years. As shared by Collider, 2 of the more notable inclusions were projects for Batgirl and Zatanna. The presentation didn't clarify if these will be theatrical movies or HBO Max originals, but it firmly puts projects for 2 fan-favourite DC characters on the horizons. Can I just say, don't get all triggered if these are HBO Max things. The budget will be the same. The quality will be the same, if not better. So chill the fuck out. Anyway, an appearance by Batgirl is slightly less surprising than Zatanna. There were rumours recently that Batgirl could become an HBO Max original movie. Right, can I just say something about Zatanna? This has been in development from J.J. Abrams for a while. By the way, if you're a Simpsons fan and a J.J. Abrams fan, this Sunday on Fox, J.J. Abrams guest stars in The Simpsons. Really looking forward to that. Nothing to do with the DC. But it is because he's involved with DC, so it's cool, right? Anyway, WB and DC have been developing a Batgirl project since 2017. When it was announced Joss Whedon was working on a solo film for Barbara Gordon, Whedon has since left the project amid various controversies about his professional behaviour. It has since been revealed that Birds of Prey and Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn's Christina Hodson was writing Batgirl, but we haven't heard anything since. Discussions on a solo project for Zatanna first surfaced in 2018. The time it was expected that the magical Zatara could get her own movie. WB and DC never publicly hired anyone to work on a Zatanna movie. The more recent rumblings about her live-action future pointed to Zatanna being involved in J.J. Abrams' Justice League Dark project for HBO Max. There is an expectation that the team-up series could give various members solo shows before and after, so Zatanna could be one of them. I think that's right. Now that Batgirl and Zatanna have been connected to DC's official plans for the next few years, hopefully more news on both will come soon. It'll be nice to know at some point what exactly they have planned for both projects and whether they're imagined as movies or TV shows. Since neither project has a director or cast members to play the lead heroines, we'll have to wait for more updates on both. So, listen, really, really great news. I'm excited for both projects. Of course, these projects have been in development for a very long time, but as I keep on saying, it's very important. You've got to treat women like you treat male characters and projects. You've got to give them your due diligence. And I don't want politicians working on these projects. I want people who want to write great characters, characterizations, and make awesome, epic movies. If you're not interested in doing that, please get out of our industry because it's offensive, not just for the industry at large. You embarrass yourselves and you actually insult the women you claim to be representing. And just remember, everyone has their own takes, you and me. Your take isn't a fact. My take isn't universally a fact. We're all just little bags of flesh with our own takes and our own opinions. If you disagree with me, comment down below, interact here on YouTube with me, or on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Wow, that was a lot to take in today, but the excitement level for DC live action is amazing, it's epic, and I will be back with more epic DC chit-chat tomorrow. So comment down below, like, share and subscribe, tell the world about me and this channel, and I will see you again for even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.